Jacob.
I'm Yuri.
And we're going for a drive.
We got the brand new 2019 Genesis G70.
Sport.
All-wheel drive, twin-turbo V6.
Which is the same engine that's in the Kia Stinger. However, I am here to tell you that this car drives better than the Kia Stinger.
And you know what else this car does better than the Kia Stinger?
What's that?
It has a manual transmission.
Well, this one doesn't.
This one doesn't, but there is a manual transmission in the 4-cylinder turbo.
And which wheels do they drive?
The rear wheels. How
They did it,
you guys?
They did it. Genesis did it.
So we're gonna test drive that as well.
So we're actually gonna do a lot of crazy stuff today, including the Autocross.
And Mont Tremblant racetrack.
Circuit Mont Tremblant.
Circuit Mont Tremblant. So this is their first sporty car.
The sportiest that they make.
Besides the Genesis Coupe.
They don't make that anymore.
But it did exist.
Under Hyundai.
Same logo.
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, the same hood. Take a look at this comparison. Let me know if they drew some inspiration from that.
I think they definitely did, and I think that they should have because that was a good car. It's what put Genesis on the map for younger people.
It all started with that Smashing Pumpkins Billy Corgan commercial. The first time I saw it, yellow Genesis drifting. From that point on, Genesis was cool.
All right, let's get to some numbers. We are in the 3.3 liter twin turbo V6, 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque.
Very similar to the Stinger.
However, this weighs less. And you can actually feel it. That's the biggest difference between this and the Stinger. This drives so much better because you can feel the weight difference. And if you actually put it in sport mode, it shifts a little bit faster than all the other modes, which is nice for them to do that. They said it shifts as fast as the BMW ZF 8-speed. I think it shifts pretty much the same time, which is good.
Can we get into looks?
I want to talk about power and handling and stuff.
Looks.
All right.
Okay, what does this compete with?
Anything in the luxury compact sports car segment.
3 Series?
3 Series, C-Class, that kind of stuff.
Okay, I think it kind of looks BMW-ish.
It has a little bit of 3 Series influence.
From the side, I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it does look like a Genesis. It's got cool taillights.
I like the taillights. I like the overall rear end. I think that's my favorite part of this car in terms of looks.
I agree. It's wide and low, and it just looks so stocky and aggressive.
And we got big oval exhaust, and the exhaust sounds okay. Not my favorite, but it sounds pretty good.
The exhaust isn't connected. It's got a fake bumper thing, but the best part is the mufflers aren't bright silver, they're dark, so you can't tell that it's not connected.
Exactly. This car does not have the sport exhaust. Only the 2-liter turbo has the sport exhaust. However, they are working on possibly getting a sport exhaust for the 3.3 turbo.
The front end is very Genesis-y. It's got that big Genesis grille. The sport trim has black chrome on it. I don't really like the silver as much, but the silver does look all right still.
I agree. I think you need to get the sport just for all the blacked out chrome stuff. The one thing that I hate about the sports, the wheels. Completely wrong wheels for this car.
I mean, they show off the Brembos nice.
They do.
But I think the 10 spokes are better that come on the lower trims.
Oh, those look amazing. Those are my favorite wheels for this car for sure. They're also 19s. They look actually perfect for this car.
Okay.
These ones, the 5-spoke flats, they don't fit the car that well.
Speaking of wheels, the all-wheel drives sit higher than the rear-wheel drives.
Yeah, the gap is way too big. These cars need to be lowered a little bit, so rear-wheel drive, yeah, exactly.
But does it drive fantastic?
It does. It handles amazing.
Give it a little bit on this.
Cliche Quebec send, and we are on Michelin Pilot PS4 tires, which handle amazingly. Tires make the biggest difference, and I'm so glad that they put proper tires on this car. The car handles so well. It turns in exactly how you'd expect it to. There's actually a little bit of feel to it. I really, really like it. And the suspension is actually perfect. The way it's damped is amazing. We have 5 different drive modes, and you can actually feel the difference between all of them.
It does handle very well. We'll get into some more track opinions in a bit, but you veered off from the looks.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, looks.
It handles really well. I just really wanted to say that.
I know. I'm excited about it too.
All right, back to the Brembos. We have Brembos on all 4 corners. Thank you.
Let's talk about colors. We've got a blue. There's a darker blue. There's a red. There's a Siberian ice, which I think looks really great.
And there's a Nürburgring green. Speaking of Nürburgring.
I know, you've been on the Nürburgring.
I've been on the Nürburgring.
This was developed on the Nürburgring.
There you go. And now we got that out of the way.
There are also a whole bunch of different specs for the interiors, but we'll talk about that later. But the interiors are kind of crazy.
They are kind of
Very
crazy.
excited about it.
And we should also mention that we are in the top trim for this car.
Visor test.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? We already tested it at the boutique at the airport.
Yes, we did. And here's that pass. Full pass at the airport, which is very random, but very cool.
I didn't expect this to not pass because pretty much every Hyundai, Kia, Genesis always passes. And the visors are micro suede.
Microfiber suede.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is microfiber suede. It's very
Softest
nice.
visors ever. We are going to be mentioning the Kia Stinger a lot, and they don't want us to, but too bad, because that's what everyone's asking us, and that's what everyone wants to know. How does this compare to the Kia Stinger?
Well, how do you think it compares to the Kia Stinger?
I think it drives way better. I was actually shocked. I didn't think it would, because they'll tell you, yeah, it's going to handle better. It is, but it really does.
It really does.
It drives so much better. So if you're looking for the better driving car between those two, this is it. But looks-wise?
Looks-wise, I like the Stinger looks more, but I think that may be because Kia came out of nowhere with such a cool car, where Genesis, you kind of expect them to put that out.
Very true.
As for looks on the Genesis G70, I think the front bumper is a little too round, and I think the front view isn't the best view. I think it's like a 3/4 view.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And I think it complements the headlights more, because looking straight on, it doesn't have a cool design like the G80 does.
Do you like the headlights?
I like the headlights from the front 3/4 view,
Okay.
because when you're looking at that, then the lines make sense.
Speaking of the overall front end, the boomerang vents.
Okay,
They are real.
they are real.
Barely real, but they're real, so thank you.
And by real, we mean they put them there and they made holes that did things. It
So-
may not be very functional.
They're not brake vents. They're actually engine bay vents.
Speaking of other cool features, the hood bumps actually look pretty cool from behind the driver's seat.
Yeah, driving, you can see it. It looks really cool. It's very unique. I haven't seen another car with the reverse hood scoop type thing. Not a hood scoop, but...
Yeah. The Genesis Coupe. That's
But it was reversed.
all that matters is the lines are the same.
It was reversed on the Genesis Coupe. The bulge was in the middle. This, it's dropped down.
I can't believe other people didn't see that.
Tell us in the comments if you agree or disagree.
Yes. On the rear trunk lid, we've also got a little built-in spoiler that looks very nice.
Yeah, it's very subtle, but it's there.
But you know what I don't like about the trunk?
What's that?
That H-Track badge.
I don't like it either. Just keep it clean. G70 3.3T. Done.
Speaking of keeping it clean, in the slides for the presentation, they showed us one with the grille blacked out and the headlights blacked out. That
It
actually
looked
looks
amazing.
the coolest.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
We need to get a G70 Super Black Edition. To end our conversation about looks, does this look better than the competition? Better than a 3 Series? Better than a C-Class? What do you think?
I think it actually does, because it stands out more. I would compare this to the 3 Series being the closest, best looking one. I think this does look better.
I think because it's brand new, it hands down looks better. We'll see in a year or two how I feel once I see more on the road. But the rarer the car, the cooler it is.
Sometimes.
Pretty much always.
All right, you want to drive?
Yes, but before I drive,
What's that?
let's have some fun at the track.
All right.
We're in the G70 on the racetrack now. Following the instructor, this thing is pretty fast on here. It seems like you've never really run out of speed, and every gear is usually pretty strong.
I got Yuri behind me. He's probably having a blast in this.
I kind of think I like this more than the stick shift. I think I really like the speed more than I like shifting. I feel like I've betrayed my image. Who am I?
The cars definitely have some body roll, but it's very controllable, especially in sport mode. It feels a lot more hunkered down, which is nice.
Oh my God, these tires hook so hard.
Yuri's keeping up pretty well. He's a little farther back right now, but he's doing just fine. Oh, 202. Under braking.
190, 201. Woo! All right, hit 200 on the track. I'm happy.
Under braking, it's very good. The Brembos have been lasting all day, and the people have been driving these cars pretty hard.
At no point have I felt that this car has gotten away from me. I feel in full control the whole time.
It definitely feels all-wheel drive. It definitely understeers, but the turn-in is very direct. I really appreciate that.
Oh my God, taking turns at 150 kilometers an hour?
Ooh, a little slide there, 150K.
Yeah, I like the V6 twin turbo more than the stick shift 4-cylinder.
The only problem that I have with these cars is that I barely fit with my helmet on. I have the seat at the lowest setting and my head touches the roof. It's kind of annoying, but these aren't exactly track cars.
All right, back to the review. Enough driving. Place your bets below. Who's faster at Autocross, Yuri or Jakub?
I vote Jakub.
No. 1.
Nice and smooth.
I'm the best, I'm the best. I'm gonna beat Jacob. Don't forget to subscribe if I win. Flying through here, some brakes. Okay, the G70 is actually really fun. This is the 2-liter turbo with the stick shift.
This is a good run. Didn't hit any cones. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Gotta be Yuri, gotta be Yuri. Woo! What was that? What was that?
Woo! That was sloppy.
What is it? Yes! Yes! That's it, we're done! Subscribe! Take that.
So I'm Patrick Danielson, I'm the manager of product strategy and PR for Genesis Motors Canada, and I am here to announce/admit that Jakub Roble was the fastest journalist in our autocross competition yesterday with a time of 33.09 seconds.
What do I test first?
Reverse camera.
We've got a 360 camera, and we've got those cool parking curb cameras, which I love, right from the Stinger.
Very nice to have. Resolution is good.
Perfect. Next thing I need to test out, small cup of Tim Hortons coffee. We're in Quebec, so we got it here. I'm gonna give this a fail-ish.
A fail-ish.
Because it goes in, and it's got like 1 millimeter of clearance, which may be like 1/16 of an inch. I don't know what it is in American.
Is technically a pass, but it's so borderline that it's a fail.
Yeah, because you can't really get your cup out after. Well, you kind of can.
You kind of can, but you risk taking the lid off.
But it does have knurled cup holders.
It does. I'm glad you learned that term.
Okay, let's drive. So now that I'm driving,
Send it.
we can talk about power.
So there's a little bit of lag down low. A little bit.
There's always a little bit of lag
No,
down
there
low
isn't.
with you, Jacob.
There isn't. The BMWs don't have that. BMWs are like that.
Okay.
Same with the Mercedes. There's a little bit of lag in this engine. I don't mind it. I just want to point out that it's there.
My favorite part about driving this is that when you're in manual mode, you have traction off, stability off, it doesn't force you to upshift.
It will hold revs. We should also mention that this does have launch control.
And it works the same way as the Kia Stinger because they're very similar cars.
Yes, so it doesn't build boost. It's not the craziest, but it does kind of hunker down and launch you.
We only have paddles. We do not have an up-down shifter with the shifter,
That's right.
just like the Kia Stinger.
And I appreciate that they don't feel cheap. They're metal.
This does have lane keep assist, which I love. It's the same one from the Genesis G80.
It works very well.
And the cool thing about it is you don't need to be in cruise control for it to work. Anything over 65, it takes over, keeps you in your lanes very well.
And there's a physical button to turn it on or off, and you can also turn it off through your center display.
The center thing is very cool. It's got different colors for every mode, but it's got this like carbon fiber light glowing texture, which I think is very cool.
And we have a turbo and a torque gauge, which I appreciate.
And there's no lag in it. We also have a heads-up display. One of the coolest parts about the heads-up display is that when you put it to sport mode, it italicizes the numbers.
Yes, it does.
Because everybody knows italicized numbers means you're going faster.
Because if the numbers are like this, that means you're speeding because the wind resistance.
You're opposite, man.
Sorry, opposite.
To the camera, come on.
Listen, man. Trying my best. Let's talk about the infotainment, which is your favorite.
Hey, Jacob, how many satellite radio stations does it rewind?
I don't know, like 10?
10.
10's pretty good.
10's pretty good, but the base Kia Rio did 20. The non-bases only do 10. I don't understand. Somebody please make these 20, but it's great.
In the infotainment, you can actually change your sound enhancer. So you can make it really loud in here, and it actually sounds pretty good in enhance mode.
The fake pumped-in noises.
And you can completely turn it off if you want to.
I like them because when you're shifting gears, you really know where the car's at. You don't have to look down at the tach.
Yeah, exactly. The infotainment is straight out of the Kia, Hyundai, Genesis that we're used to, which is why we like it. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so thank you. There is no way to control it with a touchpad. It's only touchscreen, which is great. But we've been talking about how it's similar to every other company. We think that's probably the biggest complaint, is that it should be differentiated more with different graphics so that you're not thinking you're in a Hyundai, you're in a Genesis.
That is true. That's the number one complaint. But I understand that you don't want to ruin a perfect interface because this is pretty perfect.
If they change the graphics around like that, it would be kind of cool, but that's it.
I think in the future they will. They just wanted to make sure that it came out working properly first.
What they did do right is this interior.
It is 6 degrees tilted toward the driver. And like the Kia Stinger, if I want to rewind satellite radio stations, there's a nice little platform to put my hand so I can click back.
And in this particular model, we have red stitching. You can also get gray stitching.
And we've got volume knobs and hard buttons for everything.
Which is great. However, one minor issue, piano black right up top, but it's so minimal, I don't care, so thank you, Genesis, for doing that.
This is like the least piano black of any car ever.
Then we have wireless charging down here. We have a USB port and an aux cord. Which
No USB-C.
No USB-C, it's not that futuristic yet. We have aluminum trim down here, which looks very nice. We have aluminum trim up on the sides on the door panels, and then we have aluminum non-brushed beside it, which looks kind of weird.
No, it's fine because it matches the handle, so it contrasts.
There's a contrast. It would be kind of cool to see what it all looked like in brushed, but...
And there are different color interiors, a lot of cool ones. Not everything gets the full quilt. Some of them gets the like lines and then quilt, or just lines or no lines.
The Sport gets the full quilted seats.
There is a vanilla beige option. I think that's what it was called. It's got a white steering wheel. That's my favorite. I want that. There's none here. I'm going to show you a graphic because I think white steering wheels look gangster. When I adjust the seats, it'll show me what I'm doing on the screen.
I really like that. That is very similar to Mercedes. The seats are very comfortable. The driver has adjustable bolstering, and when you put it into sport mode, the bolsters actually tighten, which is really cool.
I didn't expect that.
The passenger seat does not have that. Both front seats are heated and cooled, and the back seats are heated, and there's 3 levels of heating, which is nice.
Yeah, and I fit behind myself perfectly fine. Jacob fits behind me, I fit behind him.
Jacob does not fit behind Jacob.
But I do want to point out one thing that was weird that was also in the Stinger that we forgot to mention. From these seats, it kind of goes down with a piece of cloth, and it kind of gets in the way of your toes.
The seats do fold down, 60-40 split. Speaking of the trunk, it's a decent size.
It's kind of small.
The opening is large. And if you walk up to it with a smart trunk, it'll actually open, which is nice. It does not power close, so you have to manually do that.
Apparently a lot of people are complaining about that.
Apparently. Hey, Yuri.
Yes?
I'd like to talk about the 2.0 T Sport for a bit, even though we're not driving it right now.
Hit me with it.
252 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. And it's a manual. Did I mention it's a manual? Because it's a manual.
Yeah, we know it's a manual.
And you know what it also has? A mechanical LSD. So they basically made a luxury tuner car. Rear-wheel drive, Brembos on all 4 corners, LSD, manual, turbo 2-liter. It's a tuner's dream.
It's like almost ready for the hot hatch challenge. A rear-wheel drive, and not a hot hatch. Okay, it's a luxury car. What are the prices?
$42,000 all in, which is nice.
For which model? The cheapest?
The base.
Okay.
We are not driving that one.
No, we want the sport models because those are the enthusiast models.
The 2-liter turbo sport is $45,500.
Canadian.
Which is a pretty good price. However, we're sitting in the top trim 3.3-liter twin turbo V6 sport, $57,500 all in.
I think that's pretty good for what you're getting.
It is. It's slightly more than the Kia Stinger, but you get more and it drives better.
So what do you think? This or the Stinger?
I honestly pick this. I didn't think I would because I really like the looks of the Stinger and I love that Sportback.
Yeah.
But this drives so much better and I love to drive cars spiritedly.
I think I'm gonna have to go Genesis because of the stick shift. As much as I want to have the fastest engine all the time, I think stick shift kind of beats that.
And I really appreciate that they did that because one of the biggest complaints on the Stinger video was that there's no manual transmission. Everyone was asking for it. Nope, Kia didn't do it. Genesis did.
There's a deal breaker with the stick shift, and it's the armrest. You do a shift down, it stops your elbow. But if you lift this up, then it's fine. But I don't like it. And we didn't even get the rear-wheel drive Stinger in Canada yet.
Exactly, and I don't think we will.
So it's almost like Genesis is fixing all the issues with the Stinger. Let us know in the comments below. Kia Stinger, Genesis G70, what do you think about the looks?
Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and patreon.com/TheStraightPipes.
I'm Yuri.
I'm Jacob.
And we're going for a drive. Subscription break. Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe right now. Subscribe. We didn't do that.
Shout out Josh.
Shout out Spencer.